Welcome to OtakuCast. Glad you're here. Glad you could make it. I'm Angel's Calamity. I have a small YouTube gaming channel, and I'm your host today. And my co-host...
Hey everybody, I'm Directionally Challenged. I have a small YouTube channel as well, Directionally Challenged. I do Let's Play skits and more.
His is much bigger than mine, but we have fun.
We do have fun.
We have a good time. We have some collabs, you know. Oh, I already started off swearing. Look at me go.
No swars. So
no swars. That's a bad noodle point for me.
Yes, we have some interesting things coming up today.
Yes, first off,
news.
It's
hold
the
on.
last.
I was going to say we have some interesting news coming up towards the end of the cast. You got to stick around to find out what that is.
Yes, but first thing we're going to tell you now.
Final episode of season 1.
It is. It's our final episode of season 1. And everyone, we've had a good time, and we're going to make this one a great episode. So you guys have to stick around and see all the goodies. We're discussing our topic after we get through the news, which is all good stuff. We're discussing new fall 2020 anime. So you guys got to stick around and hear that.
Right. So we started the season off discussing the spring anime, and we're going to finish this season off by telling you about the new fall anime after our news. What you got for us?
Our first news is Boys Over Flowers manga gets live-action Thai TV series next summer. I can read, I promise.
I don't know if you can.
I can. I'm just dyslexic. Thai television company GMMTV announced in September, no roasting me, I'm reading, that it will produce new live-action series adaptation of Yoko Kamino's Boys Over Flowers manga. The production will begin filming in November. The premiere in Thailand is next summer. And it's a 16-episode series.
I've never heard of Boys Over Flowers, but hey, if you've heard of it and you think it's good, let us know down below. Give us a comment. Tell us if it's a good series, if you're looking forward to it.
Chase told me that he had read it at one point, but I don't know. He's not here today. Not yet, anyway. Boys Over Flowers manga follows 16-year-old Takushi Makuno, a bright girl from a middle-class family who gets accepted to the ultra-elite Otaku Academy. Tsukiyushi. I don't know.
Tsukushi Makino, a bright girl from a middle-class family who gets accepted into the ultra-elite Otaku Academy. She finds herself on the bad side of the school's F4, the foremost elite male members at the school. The manga has more than 64 million copies in print.
Is this like a reverse harem? Is that what I'm sensing already from this?
It sounds like it.
It sounds like a good time. I mean, what's our next news story?
Well, we're going to talk about Cat Pandemic takes over the world and new manga serialization. Throughout the course of this year, we've seen manga about pandemics get released or republished, but a new manga, which started on Monday, has an intriguing premise, which is, in the story of Night of the Living Cat, a virus afflicting the world turns humans into cats. Humans are attacked by cats and become cats themselves.
Look, that doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, right? Catpocalypse. Cat Lover Kanagi swears that he'll take on this world in order to turn it back into a place where cats and humans can live together. The Catful Horror story is written by Hawkman, while the art is drawn by Mikaroots. It began serialization in Monthly Comic Garden on Monday, and the first chapter is also available on the Mag-Kami website.
You know, I don't think I could find cats being scary. I'm a cat lover.
Have you ever seen The Pet Cemetery?
I saw the new one.
Oh, well.
Cat wasn't still scary. Still wasn't scary.
Didn't watch
anyway. Well, look, there's lots of things that need my attention, okay? Anyway, the next thing that's going to get my attention is Brand's clamor for product placement deal with Tiger and Bunny 2 anime. Interesting.
Yes.
See, I haven't seen Tiger and Bunny. It's on my list.
Well,
I haven't seen it, though.
You know what? One of the more memorable aspects of the Tiger and Bunny anime was how all the superheroes wear suits sponsored by real-life brands. It seems that Tiger and Bunny 2 sequel anime is following its predecessor in this regard. So from October 1st to 7th, the official website put out an open call for brands to sign up for a product placement deal, which is kind of interesting because it fits the premise of like the anime itself. and also kind of gets you some money because, you get that sweet, sweet brand deal.
Heck yeah. Well,
So,
all the big corporations are ecstatic about it, so that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
If you could be like, heck yeah, my brand's gonna be in an official anime, so everyone's gonna see it, and it's not superheroes.
Some of these brand people are tweeting that there's they like certain heroes more than other ones, so that's pretty cool.
So put my brand on that hero.
Yeah, the original Tiger and Bunny television anime series centers around heroes for hire, superpowered beings known as Next, who wear sponsor logos while fighting crime on live television. The Tiger Bunny 2 anime will appear in 2022 and will tell a new story set after the events of the Tiger and Bunny, the movie Rising.
Sounds like something that would happen if heroes were real. Sort of like The Boys.
Probably.
Yeah, it's a messed up story. If you guys like messed up stories, read The Boys.
The Boys?
Oh, yeah.
Never even heard of it.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it later.
What's our next news story, DC?
Looking for magical Do-Re-Mi. Film promotes government's career center for women. The Looking for Magical Do-Re-Mi Maho Minarai o Sagashite film released a tie-in poster on Friday promoting a government job-searching database aimed at women. In accordance with both the film's themes and the government's goal of promoting women in the workplace, the tagline for the poster is, "Change the future like magic."
The story follows 27-year-old Tokyo office worker Mira Yoshizuki, who just returned from Japan, 22-year-old fourth-year college student Sora Nagase, who aspires to be a teacher, and 20-year-old boyish part-time Hiroshima Okonomiyami, shop worker and freelancer. Yeah, Rita Katani, that draws together these three women from completely different
Do you want me to just read
the
Japanese names?
Different walks of life is a magic gem. A new magical story begins when they are mysteriously brought together by chance and embark on their journey.
So yeah.
It looks good.
It's interesting, and it's got trying to promote more women to get out there, give a job database to be able to get them out there, get work, which is pretty cool, especially in these uncertain times.
Yeah, times are crazy right now.
Thank you, Voldemort.
Yeah, Voldemort just be messing us up. But Resident Evil manga coming in 2021 for game's 25th anniversary. Tokyopop will celebrate Resident Evil's 25th anniversary with a manga. And they're tying into the upcoming game Resident Evil Infinite Darkness CG anime series. The Resident Evil video game series focuses on operatives trying to survive a series of escalating zombie outbreaks and is a founding franchise of the modern concept of video game horror.
I would agree with it. It is definitely like the grandfather of modern horror games.
Oh yeah,
especially with the you get just enough bullets to make it through the game if you run really, really fast.
And it will be focusing on Leon S. Kennedy, which is my favorite, and Claire Redfield.
Yay! So you get Leon and Claire.
Which is like the Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
it was announced during the New York Comic-Con's Metaverse online event. And there's a whole bunch more to it. You guys can check out the article.
Are you going to be reading the comic? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
If you're a Resident Evil fan, is this something that interests you? We would.
I am a big Resident Evil fan, personally, but I want to hear you guys. I want to hear what you guys think. Throw us in the comments.
I think I've only ever played Nemesis.
I have played all of them systematically. At least, especially the numbers 1 through 7, and then when I got a chance, me and Colette Biohazard played all of them. There's actually one where her and I played 7 on my channel, so nice. Shameless self-promotion. It's kind of crap.
You know what?
Before I knew what I was doing.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's time.
It's time to get to what the people have come here for.
Yes. Now, DC and I each watched. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's talk anime.
DC and I each watched 3 separate animes, and we're gonna tell you about them. And you guys can tell us if you guys are gonna watch them, or Interested? Not interested? Your thoughts? Do you see who's gonna go first? Do you want to go first?
I'll let you go first. I want to hear what your first pick is. How are you doing this? What's your first pick?
am doing the least interested to the most interested for me personally. So, So my first one is Tonikaku Kawaii, and it's
Kawaii.
Kawaii, yeah. Look, it's an interesting anime. It literally starts out with the dude's laying on his back in the snow with blood pooling all around him, and he's like, "Is this how I die?" And then this girl comes up, and she's like, "Yeah, you're gonna be okay. You're not gonna die." And she's got some blood on her too. Then the opening comes up, and it's very cute, very upbeat romance thing going on.
Does this take place on Valentine's Day? Is it a bloody Valentine?
No, I don't think so. Anyway. There was no dates mentioned, okay? But then our main character is like giving some life advice, like he's like, don't name your kids weird names for future. And my name is actually Zanetta, so I understand this. Pick me. But his parents decided to call him NASA. Not any sort of NASA after the American space program. But they wrote it with the kanji for starry sky. Because they thought he would reach the stars. So anyway, this kid's going through his life, and he gets picked on for his name, and he wants to work past that. He wants to prove he's more than just his weird name. So he works super duper hard with all of his studies. He's the top of his class, top in his nation for that year. And then it comes up to where he picks a school, and he's like, "Teacher, just put me in the top school. That's the one I'm going for." She's like, "You need a backup choice." He's like, "It's me we're talking about. I don't need a backup choice."
No backups.
So anyway, as he's walking home, I'm skipping a lot of my notes because you guys don't need to know the notes.
You take notes every 3 seconds on like what's happening. Like write that down.
Look, not that bad. Not that bad. Not that bad. Look, this episode was only 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all.
1 page, and 1.5 pages.
Okay, so look, I don't know why I have bad memory, in case you guys don't know this, and I have to take comprehensive notes, and for whatever reason, I remembered this anime clear enough to tell you about it without notes. I don't know. And it was my least favorite of the 3. Not saying it was bad, but we'll get to my personal feelings when we're done. So anyway, he's walking home. It's late. Snow's falling. He's like going over his choices in his head and like very, very self-assured, very confident. And then he looks up and he sees a girl. Downfall of every guy. Man, downfall
really
of everybody.
Yeah, true.
Romance.
God.
And she's just so cute. OMG.
Kawaii.
And then he decides that he has to go talk to her. And he runs across the road. What do you think happens?
Did he get hit by a car?
He was hit by a car.
That's what I thought happened.
So then we go to our blood pool in the middle of the road. Find out that the girl is there, and she's talking to him. And she's like, "I'm going to call an ambulance." You know, the driver's already calling police and all that kind of stuff. And this whole time, the boy's just trying to talk to her, trying to flirt with her, and she's just like, "You're dying. Shut up."
Look, I can flirt on a deathbed.
Look, you're right, but. And then you find out she has blood on her too because she jumped and she took some of the impact. Without that impact, he would be dead. But his legs are broken. And then she walks away. She walks away, and this dude just gets up and chases after her with 2 broken legs. That's how much he's into this girl that much. I don't know. He chases her.
That's the power of the B word.
Yes. Yes, indeed. He chases after her. She's standing at a bus stop, and he like confesses his love to her there, and she's just like,
does he even know her?
"You're dying right now?" Like,
I don't.
She's like, and she just watches him as he kind of starting to pass out on the ground. She's like, "Your adrenaline's wearing off. You're probably hurting." He's like, "Yeah, I'm hurting now." And she's just like, and then he goes to pass out, and she goes to walk out of the bus stop to make another phone call about the dude that's bleeding to death. And he gets up and goes after her again.
911.
This half-dead guy's kind of got a thing for me, I guess. So he gets up and goes after her again. And she's like, look, if you want to be with me, you're going to have to marry me. And she, like, thought that was... I don't know if she thought that would send him off or make it... But he's like, okay, instantly. He's like, I'll marry you right away. She's like, you agreed to that way too easily. And then
if
he passes out.
If you want to be my lover, you've got to marry me.
I guess. He passes out, wakes up in the hospital 3 months later. He missed all of his entrance exams. He missed all of that. All his shots that year were lost.
Yeah.
And instead of getting back into it, he falls in this depression because all he can think about is this girl. And he just starts working a service job, like I think he was a cashier at like a convenience store or something like that. And then
such a great life.
And then he's like, for a while he tried to find her, and then he gave up, and he's just super depressed this whole time because he can't get that one girl out of his head. And then one night he's in his apartment alone being depressed, and someone knocks on the door, and what do you know, it's the girl. And she's like, hi, I'm here to be your wife now. She literally has the marriage certificate, and she's like, sign this and we'll be married. Hi Chase, I see you're here now.
What? That's a little quick. It's a little quick on
and now here's the thing. The dude doesn't go. He goes, okay! And he signs the paperwork, and they go that night. It's in the middle of the night. And she goes, oh, don't worry, there's an officiator that'll take us. That'll officiate our marriage.
Yeah, it's like Vegas, 24 hours.
She's like, it's for people that work days and can't... he's like, whatever, let's do it. So they go get married. And then they come back to the house, because obviously she's going to stay with him now, because she's his wife. And then there's some funny moments, because he's just like, because she holds his hand on the walk home, and he has a panic attack about it. Her hand, it's so soft. I get to hold her hand all the time now. She's my wife. And I, like, if that's what you're considering, if that's what's getting you excited, good sir.
Yeah. Then, well, wait till you find out about, the honeymoon.
Yeah, look. And then they get there, and he starts having to freak out, because he's like, she may sleep in my bed. And she's like, no, I'll just sleep on the floor.
I'll just sleep on the couch.
And that's pretty much the anime, like, but she does tell him, because he was, like, eyeballing her, being a little bit of a perv, and she's just like, you know what, you're my husband, you can be a little bit of a perv, kind of thing.
Look, when you get married, you're allowed to perv on your significant other. All right? Yeah,
that's
the law.
She's like a little bit. You can talk about holding my hand, and you can look at me a little bit.
So pervy, holding my hand.
I'm titling this one's called Simp the Anime. Simp the Anime. No, this is called Simp the Anime. You missed my joke because you were making.
I heard it. No, I heard it.
But look, the animation was really cute. It was not the worst I've ever seen. Not awful. It was entertaining. It kept me invested, despite I do not like slice of life animes. Would I watch it? Probably not. But if it was on, like if I was at somebody's house and it was on, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I can't look at this. You know what I mean?
So what do you say? 1 to 10. What do you say?
1 to 10. I give it a 5. It wasn't awful, and I personally don't like slice of life. I do not.
5 is pretty high rating.
I do not like slice of life. I do not like romance without. I have to have sci-fi. Give me magic. Give me demons. Give me ninjas. Give me something. But
I
don't like. Yeah.
Oh, you want magic?
Yeah, I do like magic.
Well, that's good, because see, I'm kind of setting mine up in a similar way to yours, which is, least enjoyed to most enjoyed. Though I do want to reiterate, this isn't like I'm saying, this is a poop stew. No, it's more like, waiter, my filet mignon is a little undersalted.
Oh, okay. So you had decent anime too this time.
Fantastic. Okay, the first one I want to talk about.
Which is unusual, because you're Mr. Negative Nancy the entire time.
No,
anything and
here's
everything.
the thing.
Yes, you are.
I have a type of anime that I like, and the one I'll talk about right now is the Irregular at Magic High, Visitor arc, which I found out this is a series of animes, and this episode made me want to go check out the rest of the series.
Oh, do tell.
So, we start off with, it's the 21st century, magic was seen as a weapon and people could use it, so it got created and classified as its own thing, which magic technicians were created, or magicians, is what they call them. I see your skull coat. So,
yes.
They were then placed under the care of the nations that they're in. But big damage mages were called strategic mages, and strategic mages are military forces that can influence world affairs. They're strong enough to wipe out entire armies by themselves.
Interesting.
So what happens is, there's an incident on October 31st, 2095, that is called Scorched Halloween, where a new strategic mage arrived and destroyed an entire military base in South Korea. Just wiped it off the map. Then, in December 23rd, 2095, we start our episode officially, which is a man is running from these masked people across building tops, and he gets attacked by them and accused of using his magic, pyrokinesis, in order to murder people and start fires in buildings and stuff. And he kind of seems out of it. Like, he's not responding to this red-haired mage that she's accusing him of these crimes. He's not responding to her, and instead attacks her with his fire. And so
that's pretty rude.
The other mages, there's 4 masked mages that cast a barrier around him, which kind of looks like a technological barrier because it's those little cells. And she's just like, look, you have attacked me, so I sentence you to death. And she pulls out a gun and fires a bullet made of magic through the barrier into his heart. Boom.
Dead.
We cut to the school, where they're having a farewell party for one of the students named Shizuki. She's going to America, and normally mages are not allowed to leave and go to other countries. But they're doing a special foreign exchange program with America, allowing her to switch places with one of the mages in America.
Gotcha.
So we get it. It's going to be a 3-month program. She's going to be gone for 3 months. She is a very direct kind of girl. And we find out that there's like a humanist movement that's against mages and all this other stuff. We find out that the masked redheaded female mage, she takes off her mask and she becomes this like blonde teenage girl. And you find out she's the exchange student from the American program.
Gotcha.
So she's the commander that's going to be going undercover, and she's like, yeah, but why am I going undercover to try and find this, new strategic mage that blew up this base? I suck at undercover work. And they're like, yeah, you do, but power's more important than the ability to hide yourself and be discreet. You suck as a spy, but you're really strong. And it's sort of, you find out in a little later that it's a double ploy. They're actually sending 2 other spies, and they're using her as so obviously a spy that she distracts from the other 2 spies.
Wow.
So she goes to Japan. She goes to the school. We meet up with our main, I'm assuming he's the main character in the series, Tatsuya, who is told to watch his back because they believe that America is sending someone to investigate this mage. So, she shows up. She gets introduced to the group. Tatsuya's a little hesitant to really get to know her. She says her name is Lena, and you find out it's because her name is Angelina, and her mother's grandfather was a general's younger brother in the Japanese military before moving to America, and so that's why she's allowed to come, is because technically of that connection. And the episode just kind of follows her around, spying, doing some magic stuff, where she has a battle in this room where there's a metal ball on a little balance thing, and the 2 mages force their magic at the ball and try and see who can knock the ball over. And you find out that,
a contest of wills.
Yeah. And you find out that one girl is able to beat her because while her spell is powerful, the other girl's spell is quick. So she uses that to take over the magical spell and dispel it. So it's kind of an interesting little thing. She kind of, though, starts to suspect that she might be figured out because the main character, the dude, is like, there's a commander of STARS, which is America's like super military mage unit, and her name is Angie Sirius. And he was asking her, he's like, Angelina, isn't the usual shortening of Angelina Angie? And she's just like, oh, well, there was another Angelica in my middle school, so I went with Lena. She's a really bad spy. She's really bad. And so she's like talking to the other two spies, and she's like, I think that he's got me figured out. Eventually, she kind of goes and confronts him, and they have this moment where he's like, hey, you kind of seem like you really want to fight. And she goes to attack him. He blocks her hand. She goes to fire off a spell, and he dodges it. And he's like, hey, you just tried to blow my head off. And she's like, oh, it was just a psychosis thing. You just would have hallucinated that a bullet went through your head. It's fine. And I was just like, what? What do you mean it's fine? That's not fine at all.
That seems a little less than fine. Just a little.
So
just a little.
There's a whole lot that happens that I skipped over, but it's a very interesting world with magic and classifications of mages and military, and it seemed interesting enough that I understood enough of what was happening in the series without having to know about the rest of it. And it made me want to see the rest of the series. I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10 just on its own. If I knew more about the series, I probably would rate it higher. But just on its own, it's an 8 out of 10. It was really enjoyable. It was funny. And the characters were really well drawn. It was likable. I liked the rules of the world, where magic isn't just about testing. There's like combat-based magic and test magic where just because you're good at exams doesn't mean you're good at combat. And yes, Chase, it is dope. Which
it seems that way.
Yeah, that's a fun reference for my next pick. But what's yours?
So wait. What do you rate it? Final thoughts on animation or anything like that and rating? 8 out of 10?
Yeah, 100%. 8 out of 10. It is.
Wow, that's
really
like
good.
One of the highest ratings you've gotten anything ever.
Oh no, because my next one is higher rated and my last one is higher rated.
Well, then my next one was Higurashi no Nagu no Ni, or when Higurashi When They Cry. I guess this is a remake of an older anime?
Yes. It was an older anime that it looks like, from just what I've seen of that, they updated the artwork on it. And it looks a little cleaner.
That's I have no idea, but it starts off very lovely. Very, very, very lovely. It starts off with someone beating a male corpse's face in with a baseball bat. To beat it into a pulp.
That's how you gotta
just wailing on it, blood splattering everywhere. It's beautiful. It's great.
How are you supposed to start off an anime?
Anyway, but that's a way to do it. But then
they didn't want to beat a dead horse.
There's also a green-haired woman's body as well, and the wielder seems really crazy. Like you do the.
I said they didn't want to beat a dead horse.
Oh, it was all right.
It was fantastic.
Like whoever's wielding the bat, they do the shadow thing, so you can't see eyes.
Of course.
You can just kind of see the chin. Seems a little crazy, and then goes back to walloping. And then we're at the same house, and some kid wakes up, and there's a blonde girl and a green-haired girl. He's like in a house with a bunch of girls, okay? And there's a blue-haired girl, and there's a calendar, and the calendar is focused on a lot. It's focused on like a set amount of days, because it says Friday, June 10th, 1983. And they're all busy making breakfast and getting ready to go to school, and then they go to school and they meet up with some other kids, and kind of your average thing. They get to class.
Your average school day.
Yeah, someone tries to do the eraser trick thing, and we meet 2 other classmates. There's a blonde hair and a blue-haired girl, or there was an orange and a blonde-haired girl, excuse me. But the blonde hair's like the turd. She's a troublemaker. But then he makes her cry, and then everyone's like, "But oh, come on!" He's like, "She was literally beating on me, but it's fine, I guess."
Oh, I'm sorry I made her cry. I'll apologize the next time she beats me.
So then we kind of skip to June 12th, and some of them go out for lunch and stuff like that. It's, they all have like this eating thing. They all eat real quick, and it's cute. And then in the evening, we have orange hair girl, which was like the first girl that we saw with him, and boy. And they're walking on the way home. And she's like, "Wait, I want to have a stop on the way home." And he's like, "All right, cool." And she takes him to a dump. Well, it's like on the side of the road, and there's just the best thing I can use to describe it as a dump. And then there's like this crevice that goes down, and then there's just a bunch of junk down there. And she's excited to hunt for treasure. And he's just like, "Okay." And she just goes down there. She goes down there and starts rifling through like trash, and he's just like, "Okay."
Hey, you never know what you can find.
You're not wrong, but he stays up there, and this photographer walks up, and they talk about her rifling through the trash, and our main character jokes that, oh, she's looking for a dismembered corpse, as one does.
Of course.
And the photographer, and he goes from this is the part that started getting me that there's something going on here. The photographer goes stone-faced serious, and he goes, "What a grisly incident. One arm is still missing." And then he just continues talking like that didn't happen. Just back to his normal self. And before our main character can ask about it, the girl comes back. And then the photographer just leaves because he had his moment.
She just comes back, "Hey, I found an arm."
Yeah, that would be funny. But she found a toy, but she can't get to it because it was stuck. And the boy's like, "We'll come get it later. Okay, we'll come back and get you the toy." It was like pretty much a McDonald's Happy Meal toy that was down there that she wanted. It was an old one. It's an old one, pretty much. Yeah.
It's an old toy.
And so
it's called eBay.
Our main character's still disturbed about what the photographer says, and he asks her.
He should be.
And excuse me, dry mouth. Okay.
Don't be smoking.
What?
Don't what? No, keep going.
You good?
No, I'm fine.
I'm not. Anyway, he asked her, and she mentions a dam, but when he presses her for more info, she also gets weird, and she's like, "I don't know," and then goes back to being happy and cheerful. Yeah, like he's like, "Can you tell me more about it?" And her face just goes deadpan. Her voice gets serious. "I don't know," and then and she just goes instantly back to being happy and
serious and
herself.
Other vibes.
Yeah, and she's like, "I've only lived here a year," but see, that's where the weird time thing comes in, because I don't understand the time frame of this, because they act like they're all old friends, that they've been here forever, and then she goes, "Oh, I've only been here for a year," and that kind of thing pops back and forth a little bit, so there's a mystery there for sure.
Maybe it's designed to throw you off.
Most likely. Then it's Monday, and they're back in school, and they're all in some club, and there's a card game, and they want to do a scavenger hunt, and they run around, do the scavenger hunt, ha fun, and the one girl wins, and then our main character goes, he's walking home with green-haired girl this time, and he asked her about the dam site, and she says there was a war, protesters versus government, about the dam. It got canceled. And then he asked, was there a murder? At first, she's like, no, there was nothing like that. And then she gets weird. Same thing. Gets weird. Of course not. And then goes back to being herself. And then she leaves instantly. Like, she perks up and she's like, oh, I have to go. Bye. And whatever.
Alright, get out of this town.
Then we're Thursday, and he goes to dump with orange hair to help find her toy that he promised to her. And he climbs down as well, and she shows him the doll, so he starts digging through the trash, right? And then he gets tired, and she runs off to get some tea, so he waits there. It gets dark, and he sees a stack of magazines. And he starts looking through them, and now they were, like, perfectly, neatly piled.
Yeah.
you know.
Strangely.
And the second one is an old news article, and it says, construction worker lynched, murdered, and dismembered at Hirozara Dam construction site. He reads it, and now here's this anime, I'm just like, ooh, interesting. This was the moment that I actually got a chill down my spine. It was done that well. It wasn't that it was particularly scary, but it was just the way that they did it. Because he's sitting here intensely reading it, and you're kind of like with the character, like, ooh, what are we going to find out? And then the camera pans out, and orange hair girl is standing a little bit behind him. You see her back, and then you see her face. Her face is completely blank, vacant eyes, like a doll, and like she's holding a machete thing, like standing behind him, and she's got it like, and then the episode ends. So
that's unnerving. See, that's good. That's a good horror though. When it can do that without being like a jump scare or something, it's just unsettling.
And then there was an after credits scene, and this one gave me another little fresh chill. The camera pans out even more. Do we see the blue hair girl with even creepier expression on her face, just vacantly watching them?
Huh.
Yeah, weird stuff. Weird stuff. Good stuff. I will most definitely be watching it when it comes out. I prefer dub, as y'all know, but I'll most be definitely watching it when it gets dubbed. That was very entertaining. But I'd probably give that one, like, it was a slow burn, and I'm afraid the whole anime is going to be like that, kind of like our plot blocks like we had with another, so I'm not going to be as generous with the rating as I probably think it deserves, because I'm afraid of that, but I'll give it a solid... I'll give it a solid 7. I'll give it a solid 7. Just for that one episode and the bait and switch for that it was only the last few minutes that it even got interesting. So, yeah. What do you guys think? Will you guys be watching that one?
Let us know.
Give
us a comment down below.
Have you seen the original? Does that sound like the original? Yeah?
I'm definitely interested in watching the original as well as the remake and seeing how it's different or anything like that. But my next one, I have an interesting fact about this one as well. I did my research. I have gathered up interesting facts. So this is Ikebukuro Westgate Park, which, by the way, features an intro song by the Pinballs called Needle Knot. I couldn't remember the name of it. It was a weird name because Needle Knot's a weird name. So this was originally a series of mystery novels written pretty much in like the 90s, I think. And then it was turned into a TV series in 2000. And then it was made into a manga series. And it's now being adapted as an anime series. So this one thing has basically run the gambit of all media.
Interesting.
It has been a book. It has been a TV show, it has been a manga, and it's now an anime. The only thing it's missing is a movie. And it'll have been everything. Now, okay, so
tell me about it.
This was an interesting ride of an episode in general. So we start off with an intro voiceover talking about the city of Ikebukuro, which is like, it's a town where, there's lots of shops and people in the streets. Don't touch hot candles.
Look, I didn't want it to burn all the way out because I love it, so I wanted to put it out, but then it's hot.
And we get like a little bit of like, here's some people walking down the street. It's like, and it's a place where everyone gets along, and we see a car speeding down the street. And it's like, it's a place where everyone laughs, and there's like more cars following this car. It's like, it's a place where everyone can smile, and the dude driving the car is just like doped out of his mind. He's got the black circles under his eyes, he's sweating, he's drooling, and he's just like and he's just driving this car, speeding over this whole, like, the city's so great and peaceful. And we get one of our characters is just like one of our characters, who we find out later is named Makoto, is driving with him, and he's got his phone on, and he's in talks with a group known as the G-Boys. So they follow this guy, he kind of gets cut off, gets out of his car, runs into this group of people, and he's like, ah ha ha, I got away. And you just see like the person behind him pushes him, and then another pushes him, and like everybody pushes him up to this like stage, and he turns around and he sees like everybody in this group starts putting on, like, the girls are putting on little blue ribbons or little blue jackets, and the guys are putting on these like blue hats and blue jackets. Everybody's wearing blue because apparently that's the G-Boys color. Because you find out it's all G-Boys. There's a whole, like 200 people in this group, all part of this gang.
Wow.
And they push him up on stage, and the lights come on, and this guy, silver-haired, handsome, pretty boy dude, comes out in a suit, and apparently everyone starts chanting for him, yeah, it's King, King, King. And junkie dude takes a knife, goes to stab at him. It literally, the knife is like right here, like right inches away from him, and he just goes, boom, dodges it, punches the dude in the throat, knocks him down. One hit.
Hell yeah.
Done. And Makoto comes running up, and he's like, come on, Takashi, you stole the best part. And it's just, that's your little intro to this anime, which is very interesting. So, it kind of cuts over to the intro done by the Pinballs, which is a really awesome song. And we get Makoto is working at a fruit stand, listening to some classical music, stacking fruit and stuff. And King comes out.
Because that's what one does while stacking fruit, is listen to classical music.
So King arrives with this young girl who's kind of dirty. And he's just like, hey, do you remember that junkie? And he's just like, yeah. And he's like, what's that have to do with this girl? And so the mom comes out and she cleans her up. She's like, little girls should be, clean and stuff like that. And they end up like, she's like, you need to take care of this girl. They go to this ramen shop. Little girl orders herself a nice little bowl of ramen. And apparently Makoto orders the deluxe fruit ramen, which is ramen.
That sounds awful.
Oh, it's terrible looking. It's got like cantaloupe and all sorts of stuff in it, but the eggs have little smiley faces on them. It's adorable. And
that's something.
The girl, whose name is Mion, is just like, is this really a ramen shop? And King's just like, oh, he's a weird one. He always makes these weird orders. And then like another chef comes out and he's just like, oh yes, your filet mignon and foie gras. He just puts it down. And they're just like, it turns out that the cooks of this restaurant are former G-Boys. And Mion's like, oh, are you a G-Boy too? And King's just like, no, he's just a guy I know. So apparently Makoto's not a part of this gang, but the G-Boys come to him with issues. And they explain that Mion's mother was hit by a junkie, and she was caught trying to burn down this place called the Northgate Smoke Tower, where apparently there's a bunch of drug shops that are set up in there, and she wanted to burn it down because they sold the drugs to the junkie that hit her mom. And they're like, the junkie's poor, he's on parole, so there's no chance of getting compensation. And King looks at Makoto and he's like, I want you to drive the Northgate Smoke Tower out of this town. Drugs are the enemy of the G-Boys. And he's like, that's illegal or not, get it done. And so Makoto's like, man, you never could say no to a girl's tears, could you? And King's just like, you're no better.
Ha. Both of you are simps.
Really good moment, though. Like, really strong moment. Good characters. Makoto calls up a guy, because Mion's like, how are you gonna take down the smoke shop? And he's like, I know a guy. Calls up a guy, cuts to them being in this fancy restaurant. Turns out the guy he knows is the chief of police, called Yokoyama Raichiro. And he's like, I call him Rei-kun, or Rei-san. Yeah, just, casual friends with the chief of police.
Yeah, because all gang members are casual friends with the chief of police.
Makoto's not a gang member. He's a fruit stand vendor, and that's literally what he says. I'm not a member of a gang. I run a fruit stand. And the chief of police is just like, oh yeah, Makoto's like friends with so many people in this town that we actually use them to solve some cases. So he works with the gangs, he works with the police. And the police chief is like talking to him about this shop, and they're like, look, we can't get proof that they're doing anything illegal. The drugs that they're using, they do chemical alterations. They throw in vitamin E and all this other stuff to make it impossible to detect. It takes months to analyze it, and so by the time we can even get the analysis, the new batch is already made. And from what he said is that the drugs have a slew of problems, which include seizures, elevated heart rate, breathing problems, low blood pressure, and brain injury. And by brain injury, he means it causes the brain cells to collapse and dissolve.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, that would qualify as an injury, I suppose, but...
Yeah, this drug dissolves your brain! So, they're like, look, he's warning Makoto, he's like, look, if you're gonna do this, which the chief of police is just letting him do his job. He's like, yeah, sure, if you can take these guys down, go for it, kid!
I'm turning a blind eye to that.
Well, he's known Makoto since he was a kid, that's just everyone's known Makoto since he was a kid, apparently. This dude is just friends with everyone. So he's just like, look, if you do this, you need to know that normally there are powerful companies that hide behind these drug shops.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's giving him this warning, like, be careful out there. And so Mion decides to tag along with Makoto because he decides, I'm going to go check out this shop. I need to see what I'm up against. And he's like, you need to go home. She's like, no, not till this is resolved. And he's like, okay, whatever. So lets her go with him. They go into this shop, and it's like the building's filled with like these herb shops and these like, you know, essential oils and all this other stuff because it's a front. And this couple is in this shop, and they're looking at
I'll have you know, essential oils are very important. Okay.
Yeah, especially if you can hide your drugs in them.
Yes.
So they go, and there's this couple that's in there, and they're like, oh, is this the new product? And this guy running the shop's like, oh yeah, we just got that in. That's $10,000 at other competitive shops. And I'm like, isn't that like the biggest giveaway that you're selling drugs? Oh, this little herb pouch that's designed for its smell, which, by the way, yeah, that's how they package it, is that it's good. It's a scent. It's scent. It's smell goods.
I mean, it's probably done IRL, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, people hide drugs in potpourri and stuff all the time. The thing is, though, is that they don't charge $10,000 for potpourri and tell you that it's $10,000. And I was just like, you guys are really bad at hiding your drug business. Yes, Chase, matching shirts.
Yes.
So
look, don't add us for our nerdiness.
Yeah. So the people seem normal, and the girl's like, oh, well, you know, she's kind of a little weird. And Makoto tells her, he's like, there's normal people that shop here too. This is not all drug people. He's like, if you had burned down this building, you would have burned down innocent people too. And she kind of like realizes what she was going to do, and kind of realizes what it was that she's planning, and feels guilty. And then this guy comes up, and he's just like, oh, kids aren't allowed in here. And she just freaks out, grabs a jar of herbs and chucks it. And it breaks. And the guy's just like, oh, the new product. And I'm like, yeah, that stuff's expensive. You just destroyed like $30,000 of product for these people. So they have to book it now because they're, of course. And Makoto just like grabs her. They run up the stairwell, jump across to an opposing stairwell, parkour their way across buildings, and end up in an alleyway where you get the typical like, it's been a long time, Makoto. And Makoto's just like, oh, you old man. It turns out he's a policeman who formally explains that Makoto has a criminal past. And Mion's like, what? And he's like, oh, when he was about your age, we caught him and some friends trying to peep in on the girls' changing room. And Makoto's just like, you got to bring that up. Well, he'd be like 12, you know. Of course.
Yeah.
That's not really criminal at that age. That's just like, you stop it. Don't. Bad.
Yeah.
You teach boys,
right.
Don't do that. Imagine if you were just supposed to smell the drug and that's why it gives you brain damage. If you take it, everyone's just doing it wrong. That's true, Jay. It could be. Everyone's just doing the drug wrong. And it only gets you high for a few minutes. The thing is that it's literally a few minutes of high
for like $10,000
for 10 grand, and it destroys your brain cells. So, yeah. So the cop, the officer there, he's like, look, I want to take these guys down too, and he's like, how are we gonna do this? I can't let you officially in on this. It's an ongoing investigation, but I hear that the shop owner's name is Okashi. And he leaves. And so Makoto takes them to this guy, this hacker dude with all these piercings and stuff. He's named 01. That's literally his name. 10. And he's like an expert hacker.
1000101.
He's 01, expert hacker, and he tracks down who this person is. And apparently this dude is like, he's a medicine dude in the pharmacological business, you know, does all this stuff, and he also runs this shop, and he shows up like every Wednesday, and they suspect that, oh, maybe this is a day where they do product or they have meetings or something. But G-Boys investigate him, they watch him, they find out, yeah, he goes to different shops, like literally different buildings every day, and every other day he goes to this old apartment, and the next day is when one of the shop runners from that tower comes in. So G-Boys decide they're going to bust into this building. They get the code from some security cam footage. They get in. Mion wants to go, but they tell her wait in the van. King from the G-Boys decides to go with Makoto. They enter the house. It's a grow house. Like, you go inside, boom, whole thing covered with drugs. And they're like, we got him. But dude from the shop shows up. And they're like, what? He's early. What's going on? And Mion's just like, I got this. Runs out, yells at him, grabs a rock, chucks it at his head. And the guys hear him be like, oh, you little brat. And she starts running. Guy catches up to her, grabs her, and she just shouts for Makoto. And, you know, you're like worried for her. What's going to happen? Boom! Boot to the face. Makoto just shows up, knocks him down. And King shows up and he's like, looks like you stole the best part this time. And I was like, yeah, call back. Nice. And so it goes to the end where the guys get arrested. The G-Boys plant some drugs from the grow house inside the business to give the cops all the warrants they need, because they're criminals, so what's it matter? Cops arrest them and everything, and Mion brings her mom to see Makoto, and they kind of keep it quiet. And you find out you had found out earlier Mion didn't have a father. It was just her mom. That's all she had. Mom works nights and very busy. And Mion like gives Makoto a hug, and she's like, you know, I wouldn't mind having someone like you as a dad. I guess not all adults are bad.
Aww.
And it's a nice little moment. And King shows up, and he's kind of like, hey, why aren't you more happy? You know, we got him. They're arrested. Problem solved. You drove the business out. And he's like, I've been thinking about what, you know, the chief of police said, is that there's powerful companies behind these businesses. And as he says that, you see someone with binoculars watching him from the distance.
Oh.
And that's where the episode ends. And it is fantastic. It is amazing. The whole thing moves at a great clip. You're never bored. Every moment is interesting. You're always wondering where it's going to go. You're curious about the relationship between Makoto and King. How does he know him? If you're into like mystery / like gang delinquent stuff, it's great. It's almost perfect. And
very interesting. It sounds interesting. How about the animation?
Animation's great. It's beautifully animated. It's beautifully done. The characters look great. There's a lot of pretty boys for you people that like pretty boys out there. A lot of eye candy, and it's fantastic. It's purely fantastic. I think my only complaint is it moved a little too fast. So I would definitely say it's 9 out of 10.
As long as we didn't have Bakano type jumping around.
No, not 9 out of 10. Great. The series itself, I don't know yet. I'm gonna watch it though, 100%. Fantastic plot, fantastic setup, great music, great design. 100%, 9 out of 10. Watch this show. It is so good.
All right, so I guess it means it's my turn once again.
Yes.
And my last one I watched, and actually my last one on the list as well, I may have watched them in order that I presumed I'd be most interested in them as well, was Jujutsu Kaisen, which, if you guys remember, we talked about it on last cast. A little bit in one of our news stories. So this is a manga you've read, yeah, DC?
Yeah, I'm reading, yes.
Okay. See, and I was the one that got to watch the episode.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna watch it. I'm 100% gonna watch it.
So we start off with our main character, Itadori Yuji, and he's like tied in a chair in this room with like a bunch of like, you know, the crazy people rooms you see with all the stuff plastered all over the walls.
The padded rooms.
No, like the papers and stuff like plastered on the wall, you know, with like notes and pictures and. That's the kind of vibe. It doesn't really get close enough for me to see what they were on the papers, but whatever.
Those are probably Taoist tags.
There was something. And then there was candles, and there's his captors in there. Like, he's tied. His arms are behind his back, tied up down to the floor, and there's a bunch of those little tags on him, and this big, heavy rope. And he looks really heckin' confused. And his captor is an upperclassman in charge of new students. And he has him, though he's like wearing a disguise, but he tells him who he is. Yeah. And you find out why, because he's admits his name and his intentions. And he's like, yeah, you're gonna be secretly executed. We're gonna kill you. And
we're gonna take you down.
Yeah, and then our opening, lots of weird stuff happens in the opening. Good song. Lots of weird things going on, and it got me hyped because you know how much I like the supernatural, the weird, like extra eyeballs on cheeks and like mouths opening and on the side of their faces and just all kinds of cool stuff. So then Yuji's calling the hospital repeatedly about his grandfather, and Grandpa's grumpy old codger doesn't want to talk to him. Says, "Move on with your life, forget about me." He's like, "Go to your club, go do teenage stuff, don't worry about me." And the kid's like, "I'm gonna come visit you later anyway, like I do every day." So pretty much he's calling and checking in on his ailing grandpa, which is really cute. And then nighttime, and we see a black-haired kid at the school, and he's looking for a cursed object. And there's like a box. Looks like one of those little mini shrines, you know? It's called a Stevenson screen. And his cursed object is supposed to be in there. He opens it and it's gone.
What's in the box?
He's on a phone call and he's like, "It's not here. You told me to be here." And the person on the other line's like, "Don't come home until you find it." Great! So now we're at high school and the Occult Phenomenon Research Club, right? And there's only 3 members, which is the minimum required members to keep the club. Yeah, and they're playing with a Ouija board or something very similar to it. You know what I mean? And the president of this, I wasn't sure if it was the president of the school or it was just, he was the president. The president comes in,
president usually.
Most likely, and he's like, "You guys get out of here. You only real clubs get a room." And they go have a little back and forth that, you know, their club is valid. And he's like, "No, I don't have time for your nonsense. Get out." And I need a drink. I'm sorry. My throat is dry.
I don't have time for your silly nonsense.
Pretty much. And the girl, because there's the girl, the boy, and the main character. That's how I didn't get any of their names except for the main character, which is Itadori Yuji. So, and because it's not a real club, and she's like, "Aha! But what about the field? It was haunted." And he's like,
dun, dun, dun.
That everyone only got sick from being in that field because there was ticks in the field that were infected with something that made everybody sick. Pretty much. And he also is like, "You guys don't have enough members." And they're like, "What? There's 3 of us." And he goes, "Oh, I took the liberty of taking UGG off of the list and put him on track and field. And he's like, I don't want to be track and field. President's like, we need you. And he's like, I don't want to be there.
I don't care.
Yeah, so pretty much this kid wanted a club that he could do minimal effort, and still, because clubs are required, because he's worried about his ailing grandpa.
So a club that ends early so he can go see his grandpa.
Ends early with minimal effort, exactly. And so they're like, okay, the president's like, fine, I need you for nationals. How about we have a race, or I think competition, and if I beat you at this competition, then you're gonna quit this club and come do what I want you to do. And then UGG is like, yes. So then we're back out on. Then we come back out to the rugby field, and it's our black-haired dude.
Academy Chase.
Oh, yes.
So if you dislike My Hero Academy so much, why do you have a shirt, especially Deku of all people?
It's My Hero Academia.
My Hero. I don't dislike it. I just dislike what happens to the main character.
Yeah, you just don't like Deku being a crybaby.
I enjoy his potential.
Okay. Then we're back out on the rugby field, and our black-haired dude's out there looking for the thing. There's like a monster just kind of surfing in and out of the ground. It's chill. It's having a good time. And then he's like looking at the picture of this cursed object, and it looks like a burrito. In my brain, I'm like, via cursed burrito. It's so delicious. But it makes it even funnier when we come to the end.
It's kind of because it's like wrapped up with tags.
Yeah, it's like wrapped up with a seal. So they're on the track and they're competing. They're throwing the metal ball thing which I knew what it was after I watched Shock Put. Thank you. They're throwing the metal ball thing, the Shock Put, and all the there's a bunch of students there. Everyone's whispering about Rumen. There's about UGG being so amazing. And the teacher's like, or the president's like, 14 meters, and he's all proud of himself because the record's like 16.
Yeah.
And
if the world record's 16 and you threw it 14, 2 meters, that's like literally 6
and
feet.
UGG takes the shot put, and he's like, wham!
Yeah,
and it flies.
I loved in the manga because he's like, do I have to do that wind up? And they're like, no, and he's like, okay, good.
He's like, throw it however you want. He's like, okay, cool. And he just yeets it. And it goes at least 30 meters. 30 meters was an estimate, and like crushes a soccer goal kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
so,
so
like 36 meters.
Everyone's shook, and he wins. The Paranormal Club's like, you didn't have to do that. And he's like, you're my friend, and you guys are scaredy cats, and you need me.
Yeah, just casually shattering world records. Don't mind me.
Yeah, and he also does not. He also explains that he needs a club with minimal effort because he's busy with things.
I got grandpa stuff.
He has to be out. He has to leave there by 5 for his own reasons. So Black Hair is like lingering, being a creeper somewhere in the background, and he's like watching him, and he's like, I wonder if that kid is like my senpai. Who's his senpai? I don't know. And then UGG sees it's almost 4 and rushes off, and he passes Black Hair, but when he does, the black haired dude like senses the presence of the curse on him.
Senses the cursed object.
Exactly. And UGG freaking takes off like a bullet out of a gun, so Black Hair can't follow him. He's fast as heck. He's fast as heck,
he
boy!
is a mad lad.
Oh, yes, he is very much a mad lad. And then we see UGG buys flowers and visits his grandpa, and his grandpa gives him the whole, I'm a grumpy old man, you shouldn't be wasting your time with me. You have better things to do. Spiel again. And he's like, no, look, I promise my club ends before 5. You're not taking anything out of my life, so I can visit you. And grandpa starts giving him a little bit of a speech, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's like, do something important with your life, when I die, I want to go out in style. And he tells him a really long thing about how much you need to help people and make friends and don't become a lonely old man like me. And then he dies.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad moment.
It is, like, because you could see why he's so bitter, is he doesn't want people to worry about him. I think UGG is all he has.
Yeah, well,
and he's like, this is a child. Yeah. He should be enjoying being a child, not worried about this grumpy old man.
And it's sort of like a prideful thing,
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah, and it was sad because he just, and because Grandpa rolled over and he was saying those things, and then he just passed away. UGG turned to look at him and he realizes he's gone, and he calls the nurse and he's trying not to cry, and then he has, we go through the whole taking care of all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff, and he's just trying to deal with it at this point.
Yeah.
And it seems like that. Like, I don't know if UGG has anyone else in his life, but it seems like that's all he had, like, parental figure-wise. Yeah, and the black-haired guy shows up and he wants to talk, and UGG's like, look, my grandpa just died, dude. Like, give me a few minutes. But he wouldn't give it to him, so he wants the cursed burrito, and UGG's like, oh, I found it, and my senpai likes it. I'm imagining he's talking about one of the club members. Mm-hmm. And and the dude explains that it's very cursed, very dangerous, that you could
big bad curse.
Use it. Big bad curse. Lots of bad things could happen if you keep a hold of that. I need to take it. And UGG is like, all right, here you go. He gives him the little box, and the dude opens it, and it's empty.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, the Paranormal Club has that thing. And Black Hair's like, they're going to die. So then the craziness starts happening.
Yeah, like, the Paranormal Club is literally there to open the cursed object.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip a little bit here because it's kind of drawn out because drama and it's done well. I have to say this is done really well. It's not speeded up as much as I'm gonna do it because I've really enjoyed this anime. And late at night, the Paranormal Club's trying to open up the seal, and they do. It's a finger, just a fingy.
Yeah, it's a little fingy, little mummified finger.
And then stuff starts getting weird. Monster blobs come from the ceiling. Things start shaking. Lots of loud noises.
Curses so Blackhair and demons.
Exactly. Blackhair and UGG are running. They have to try to get past a barrier. They get inside the school. And there's like monsters and stuff everywhere. The black-haired dude like summons his. You find out a little bit later they're his Shinigami, and they're a black and a white wolf.
Shikigami.
Oh, Shikigami, excuse me.
Yeah, it's
black
like, and Omnioji uses them.
Okay, they're a black and a white wolf, and they start
things.
Tearing demons up, and
it's
then they run through, and... Well, actually, first, UGG is told to wait outside, because it's safer that way, and then...
He don't listen.
Black-haired dude comes up, and his classmates are getting eaten. UGG jumps up, like, 10 stories... and jumps through the glass and kicks one of these demons in the face. Yeah. Big fights happen. Black-haired dude loses. UGG finds out that he cannot hurt this thing unless he has this cursed magic power. So,
well, how do you get a curse?
Yeah, they go over how do you get a curse. Well, you have to actually, like, pull some of that cursed magic into you. And, long story short, UGG eats the freaking finger.
He eats the finger!
He eats it. Which, that's why I laughed that I call it a cursed burrito, because he eats it anyway, nom nom.
Yeah, just casual, casual
Well, no, he's, like, getting wrapped up by, like, the tentacles, and everyone's, like, on the ropes, everyone's in a bad way, and UGG just yeets it in the air and goes, oh, and just, I'm not sure if he chewed it, or if he swallowed it whole,
I'm pretty sure he swallowed that thing whole.
There's a thingy inside that boy now. It is not the way you think. Anyway... Yeah. So, then he gets superpowered, destroys the things in, like, one, anime style, boom, dead. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's total bamf.
Now, mind you, why he was swallowing it, Black Hair's like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. There's it's
too
much
curse power.
It's too much power. There's a 1 in a million chance, and then you see him go limp, you see him come back, you see him destroy things.
Yeah.
And then you see that he is not himself. He's this, like... The 1 in a million chance is that the cursed object reincarnated from the flesh of the original, owner of the finger.
Yeah, he's
possessed by the cursed object. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want men. Where's my people? Where's my women? I'm alive again. He's all happy and he's looking out. So much destruction. And he's like got mouths and eyeballs all over him, and his claws are all hands. And gotta say, attractive to me because I'm a weirdo, but moving on. And he's like, oh, this is what it's like to have flesh again.
It's a finger. This dude is a mad lad to the extreme. He is, Chase. He's a freaking mad lad.
And then
didn't even hesitate.
No, he's like, okay, guess I gotta be cursed now. Gulp. But then his own hand comes up and grabs his jaw, and he's like, what? The body is fighting me. And they have this little back and forth between UGG and Finger Dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I want my body back. And they're like, you're not supposed to be able to do that? Like,
yeah.
And then he's suppressing it, and Black Hair's like, I have to kill you. And that's where the episode ends. So, I really enjoyed that. I will most definitely be watching it.
You want to watch episode 2.
Oh yeah, animation was great. I'm gonna wait for dub most likely because I have so many. If I find myself without 150,000 things to do on my plate right now, I will definitely watch it. But I just have so much to do. Maybe I'll just binge it all once the season is over. Maybe I'll do that. So, yeah, just so good. Definitely 9 out of 10, for sure. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. Definitely. Have you guys seen this one? Have you read the manga like DC has?
Yes.
Are you gonna watch it? Let us know in the comments below, or to the side, depending on what you're watching this on.
So,
yeah, what's your next one?
The last one is Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. Now, I have a couple fun facts before I get into anything else. So, this was based off of a manga that was serialized in Shonen Jump from October 1989 to December 1996. It was an anime from 1991 to 1992. It's been remade now as this new series coming out in 2020, the one we're watching and I'm going to be talking about, and a couple of fun facts beyond that. So, originally, the Dragon Quest game had artwork done by Akira Toriyama, and Akira Toriyama wrote Dragon Ball, which inspired Ichiro Oda to become a mangaka and make One Piece.
There it is. There's your One Piece reference of the day.
Oh, I had another method, which was Akira Toriyama did the art for Dragon Quest. Akira Toriyama did Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was made into a movie series. There was a movie, Dragon Ball Super, Battle of the Gods, which had a special feature double release promotional art with One Piece Film Z.
Okay.
Yeah, I had 2 ways to go about it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
I know. This is fantastic. So, Dragon Quest, I have a summary that I wrote up because I watched this episode twice, and then I watched episode 2. Because it's really good. So, Dragon Quest begins with a story about the legendary hero who defeated the evil Dark Lord and saved the land. Then, a group of monsters freed from the Dark Lord's control go to an island, set up at this island, and live in peace. Eventually, a boat carrying our main hero arrives, and Dai grows up on the island, befriending the monsters and trying to learn magic, because the monster who raises him is a lump mage, and he wants Dai to learn magic. So,
a lump mage?
A lump mage. That's the type of monster that he is. Dragon Quest has weird monsters. They're all great. If you love the game series, you'll love this anime. So, this ship eventually shows up as Dai's learning his magic and practicing, and he's like, I don't want to be a mage, I want to be a hero. And the ship shows up, and he looks out, and he sees these people on this boat, and he's like, oh, that's a hero on that boat. There's a hero, a priestess, a wizard, and a warrior. So the heroes are kind of, row into the boat, and Dai makes a whistle, and he calls for the merman, jumps into the water, gets on this merman monster to go out to the boat. And the heroes are kind of talking about how, oh man, it's so easy to be a hero. We just show up, push some monsters around, beat them up a little bit, and we get praise. And they're like, yeah, and we hear this monster island, there's this legendary golden metal slime that we're going to look for. And as they're talking about this, Dai jumps off the merman, lands on the boat, and he's like, you guys are heroes. And they're like, yeah, we are. Where did you come from? And he's like, oh, I came from this island. They're like, oh, you want to take us to this island? He's like, yeah, I'll take you. They're all my friends. And they're like, aha, we're in. So they go to the island. Dai calls for all of his monster friends. They all show up, and the heroes are like, hey, isn't there another monster? Like the priestess lady's like, isn't there another monster? And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, probably like a special one. He's like, oh, you mean, I can't remember. He's like, Gobro? And they're like, what's that? And he's like, well, his full name is like Golden Metal something or other, but it's really complicated. So I just call him Gobi-chan. And they're like, oh, well, go get us Gobi-chan. Why isn't Gobi-chan? He's like, oh, Gobi-chan's shy. And so he's like, oh, go get Gobi-chan. And he runs off. And after he runs off, they just start taking down the monsters who are just kind of like chilling. Like they're just showing up. They're just smiling. They're like, hey, what's up?
That's pretty rude.
Yeah. They're horrible people. So eventually,
rude.
Dai shows up
Poor monsters.
with this little golden slime that has wings and flies. And it doesn't want to go. And he shows up and all of his friends are being beaten. And he's like, what's going on? And the heroes sort of like kick him down, take the monster, throw it in a cage, and leave. And they're like, thanks, sucker. And they leave. And Dai's just like angry. And his grandpa, Lump Wizard, shows up and he's like, look, I've got these 4 metal cylinders called magic cylinders that I received from the Dark Lord. And they can suck up anything. Just point whatever you want to suck up and say gulp. And when you want to release it, say gush. And so Dai just points it at the Lump Wizard grandpa, which he calls grandpa, and he's like, gulp, gush, gulp, gush, gulp, gush, gulp, gush. It just keeps spitting him back out.
Poor grandpa!
The whole time he's just like, what are you? Stop it! And he just keeps doing it. And he gave Dai these 2 golden cylinders, and he's like, even I don't know what's inside those. And Dai gathers up all the monsters that can fight, puts them in the thing, hops on a Kraken, which if you guys know anything about Dragon Quest, you know what the Kraken is. And they go over to the ship where the heroes are like, look, King, we went to this island of monsters. And he's like, oh, is it as bad as people say? And they're like, yeah, it's horrible. This is terrible monsters. But we beat them up and got you this golden monster. And he's like, oh, wonderful heroes. I shall now present you with the crown of heroes, marking you as a hero of our country. And Dai shows up. He's like, give me back my friend. Releases the monsters from the cylinder. You've got like a wildcat, you got a golem, and they just start like fighting all the soldiers. They're like, oh, your majesty, rush to safety. Takes the golden, slime with him, and heroes start fighting. The Kraken and the merman start like pushing the ship over to make everybody uneven, and Dai's fighting the hero with this wooden sword because that's all he's got. And the hero's just like, oh, you kid, you ruined everything. We're going to get this. We're going to get all this money. And Dai's is like, whatever. And eventually, like, one of the mages freezes the 2 sea creatures so that the ship stops moving. They start taking down the monsters. Dai gets kicked into the mast, and he's got to unleash the golden cylinders. First one is just like a bunch of slimes pop out, which they're low-level creatures. One hit and they die. And the next one he opens up is a freaking dragon.
Oh.
And it just like starts unleashing terror and kicking butt of all magnitudes. And the priestess runs off to like figure out how to beat this dragon. So she gets the golden slime, puts a dagger up to it, and is like, hey kid, if you don't put that dragon back, your friend's gonna get it. So Dai absorbs the dragon, and they're like, oh man, now you've done it. We're gonna take you all down. And all the slimes start to conglomerate into each other because they form the legendary King Slime. And they're just like, that's a King Slime. And they can't.
Of course.
No, yeah. No, this is what happens in the game. If you get like 7 slimes, they conglomerate into a King Slime. And the King Slime's pretty strong. So King Slime pretty much is like the I win card.
I gotcha.
And eventually the king comes out and he's like, you are no heroes. No hero would take hostages and try and kill a child. So he's like, you will be punished. And he kicks them off the boat and he tells Dai, he's like, I must reward you for having the bravery to face, the odds and face these stronger opponents. I'm going to gift you the crown of heroes. And he's like, this will mark you as the future hero. He gives him the crown. And Dai's like, yeah, I'm going to be the future hero. And he kind of goes back home. The king goes off. And he's like, I got to go to this kingdom, Paprika or something like that. and Dai's back home with his grandpa, and he's looking for his crown. He's like, Grandpa, where's my crown? And Grandpa's just like, I don't know where you put it. And he's like, you did something to it. He's like, no, I didn't. He's like, that crown marks me as the future hero. And the grandpa's like, you're not going to be a hero. You're going to be a wizard.
A wizard! Why not both?
Yeah, look, Grandpa just wants him to be a wizard because Grandpa's a wizard. That's what it's all
Why
about.
not both?
He sucks at magic. But it cuts to 3 months later, and Dai's doing his magic training, and he's trying to cast the lowest level fire spell there is. And it literally just like forms this tiny little flame and just explodes. And the grandpa's just like, more training!
Poor kid.
But they see this boat showing up, and Dai's like, oh god, another boat of people that are going to attack us. And Grandpa's like, no, that's the boat of sages. Only a sage can use that boat. And they see this group coming, and they run out, and these two people get off the boat with a bunch of soldiers, and they're like, look, I'm the advisor to the kingdom of Paprika, and this is the sage so-and-so, and we're here because we heard of the great future hero that it was on this island. And they call off the grandpa's name, and he's like, I can't remember his name, but it's like Lump Slime the Venerable. And I was just like, that's just an insult, because that just means he's really old. And so they're like, we're here with the princess. She needs the help of a hero. And the princess starts like walking up, sees her, and she's like, oh, are you the great hero? And he's just like, yeah, I've died. She's like, huh, a little short to be reliable.
Rude.
And
Short
that's where the episode ends.
Rude. I'm very short and I'm very reliable.
But we do get an end credit scene.
Oh, what's that?
The end credit scene shows Dai and the princess getting attacked by these monsters that aren't native to the island, and they're going crazy, and the princess gets poisoned, and Dai unleashes a blast of blue energy, and it ends. Fantastic.
Very interesting.
Wonderful. I am a huge fan of the Dragon Quest series. I love the Dragon Quest games. I loved the Dragon Quest movie. I love everything Dragon Quest. If you're a fan of Dragon Quest, 10 out of 10. Great animation.
Kind of sad I didn't get to watch
story.
that one because it's got a dragon in it. I like dragons.
Watch it. 100. Go watch it.
Maybe
you can go watch the original version from the 90s if you want to.
Maybe, baby.
It is so good. It is wonderful.
DC.
I loved it.
DC. Do you know what time it is?
It's time to talk about our animes for Anime Club. You know DC. Anime Club by now.
What is
Come
it?
on.
What is it? What is Anime Club?
It's where we go and we watch animes. Our current animes that we're watching this season are God of High School and The Promised Neverland. Anime Club is on Fridays at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. You can join by joining the Anime Club voice channel in our Discord. Just go ahead, join us along with the anime episodes. Yojack hosts a movie every week. This week's movie was Redline. Expected start time for the movies are 9:30, 6:30. Everyone's welcome to join. See you there.
And today we are discussing the finale episodes of both The Promised Neverland and God of High School.
Of Promised Neverland and God of High School. This is a longer episode than normal because there's just so much anime to cover.
There's so much to talk about today. So
much to talk about. Luckily, Promised Neverland, I think there's a little less to discuss this week for the finale because so much of it was just like the feeling that you got. You know,
yeah, honestly, I was hoping for a little bit more of a confrontation, a little bit more, but you know what? I was still highly entertained by the way the episode went down, and I enjoyed it. So, we're with Mom, and the name of this episode is 15046.
150146.
Oh, was it a 146? Oops.
150146. Because it's January 15th.
So, Mom's with hugging Phil, and then we see the kids climbing the wall. Yeah. And Ray asks where the kids under 4 and under are. You were right. There was no little ones there. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I told you.
And there is something I was right about, though.
Which
later on. Later on.
But Emma, basically.
Emma says that she left them at the here.
Yeah, she left.
We get a flashback.
We get a flashback. Dawn is talking like, what are we gonna do? And they wonder, like, they're kind of questioning, like, can we really trust the 4-year-olds? If we tell them, will they be able to hide it? Gilda's kind of like, can we really take them? And
then Emma's just like, go get Phil.
Yeah,
let's
go get
talk
Phil.
to Phil. So
Emma,
they talk to Phil and they tell him about the house and the mom, and everything. And you find out Phil had suspicions. Yeah,
Phil's pretty like, it's pretty much what I figured happened.
Yeah.
And Emma's
and he says that Sister Crone said something about a harvest.
Yeah.
And he saw her looking under the bed, and Emma was afraid of Mom. And then he realizes that all of his friends and family that were harvested, and he starts to cry over them. Because, he's 4.
Well, yeah, he's 4. Well, he could be younger, technically. But pretty much.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, pretty much, we kind of get a moment where Emma's talking to Phil about her plan, which is either she takes the kids, or she's like, or we leave them because, if we leave the under 4s, the oldest one is like a year and a half before her 6th birthday, and
they don't harvest the kids until they're 6.
Until they're 6, but if we take all the other kids, then that kind of means that they're going to have to build up some supply. So at the most, she's like, at minimum, we're looking at like 2 years. And Phil's just like, yeah, that's fine. Leave it to me, Emma. I'll handle it. Come back in 2 years.
Phil's a champ. He's a 4-year-old. He's a champ.
Oh, yeah. He's like, nah, I got this. Which I suspected Phil was up to something the whole time. Because he seemed like he knew more than he let on.
Phil was always there.
He was always around. Always there. So
Phil, Mom hugs Phil.
Yeah, and takes Mama to the other kids. The baby.
She asks with the tracker, and then they're all the little ones are there.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to go get Emma and the others. And she gets on the radio and raises the alarm.
Sounds the alarm. Yeah. And I was... we get informed that...
We see all the kids are on the wall and they're running. And then we hear a voice over the radio.
15 have escaped. Which there was like 37?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like we're missing some children somewhere.
So 15 have escaped out of 37, which means there was 22 kids left. But when we see the kids, it doesn't look like there's 22 of them. I didn't see
any of the infants.
No, I didn't see any babies, and I'm really concerned about that.
Did they just not want to dry that? Did they not want to draw them, or did all the babies get left in the burning house?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about that. Also, I noticed that they didn't go with Ray's plan of taking the Molotovs. Remember he discussed that he hit the Molotovs? That could have came in
handy, but you know what?
Yeah, that would have been real handy.
The voice over the radio says, keep the high-grade kids alive, kill the others, but don't damage their head. And we see an army of demons getting ready for this.
Oh, yeah. And they're tall.
Yeah.
They're tall. So, they're as big as the gate.
So Emma picks a spot for crossing, and said, Ray's like, Norman said the bridge. And then we get a flashback.
Yeah, we were going to do the bridge, but that's what everybody would expect. But I found this place.
We see them training for rappelling and zip lining, all that kind of stuff.
I was gonna go through the Ray part or the Norman part first, where he's like, if we get to this point, it's the closest point. If we work on it, pretty much we can get across. So they're working on throwing.
Being the fact this is a honeycomb, and then the bridge and everything's in the middle with all the other plants, are they rappelling to a different plant, or are they rappelling out?
From what it looks like, they're going out. And the plants are in.
That's what I thought too, but just like the way it, I don't know.
I know it doesn't make sense. But I have to state that there's no freaking way that cloth holds anyone.
No, but
no way that cloth holds anyone, because it's just made out of old sheets. So we get zipline time.
So yeah, they throw the rope, and he goes over and repels, and they throw some more ropes, and we get more flashbacks.
The two other
training
kids use
kids go
use
across.
water rockets.
Yeah, and like they use
Ray,
hangers to rappel over and stuff like that.
Ray sees Norman. Norman starts to like speak to him. Is like, "See, I
told you I'd show you something cool."
Yeah, I guess this is what you meant.
Yeah, and Norman kept his word, and he's like, Emma's a leader that encouraged all this. Almost all the kids are over, mind you.
Yeah,
and Mom's on the radio again.
No one's at the
no
bridge.
sign.
And she's like,
so
why not? And then she like realizes,
off.
like, yeah.
One of the kids back on the wall, and one of the kids is too scared to go over.
Jemima.
And there's only 5 left. And Mom's running, and Ray just like he picks up the scared kid, tie her to me.
Comforts her, and he ties her to me, and I'll go over. He goes over with Jemima. The other 2 kids are like afraid, and he's like, "Oh, what? Are you scared?" And they're like, "No."
Yeah, pretty much. He encourages all of them to keep going. And then we see Mom. She's nearing ever closer, and she's remembering her own little foray to the top of the wall.
Swinging up. Like, she did it in, like, a way cooler way than they did. She just, like, literally George of the Jungle swung up there. Yeah,
she does. And then Mom's on the wall now, and she's running. And then now there's only Emma left. All the boys are over. And Mom's there. Emma and Mom see each other.
And Emma's just like... Emma stares her down.
This long moment that Emma could have went at any time, but she took the time to say goodbye.
Goodbye to the house, goodbye to the kids, goodbye to Mama. And she just goes. And when she gets to the other side, they kind of like cut the ropes.
Yeah, they cut the lines.
Mama's just kind of like staring, lets her hair down, and we get a flashback of Mama.
Story time.
Yeah, Mama remembers this kid Leslie who was playing the lute. He was playing a lute, and she's just having a nice little talk, and I said
that was like her best friend.
Yeah, and I wrote down young Isabella was cute.
Yeah, she was adorable.
Innocent she was before she meets Grandma. After Leslie's taken, and she meets Grandma.
Yeah, boy got shipped. Isabella's sad. She ran after and climbed the wall. Then it was her turn, and she was given the choice.
And she takes the choice. She starts becoming a mama, goes through the training. And
she gets pregnant. She does the training while she's pregnant.
Yeah, I have a question, though. Who impregnates them?
Probably a syringe or a turkey baster. Well, let's be real.
I'm just questioning where they get
that was my question back when we were talking about Norman. Yeah. There has to be someone they're getting this
There's gotta be a prime stock guy.
Or a couple of them, because one man can fertilize a lot of women.
Yeah, you only need one, because it's not like
especially if they're using in vitro methods.
Yeah, like if you think about it, they only need 5 mamas. So the girls that don't make it through the training, you only need one guy for years, really.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was time to replace the dude, and that's where Norman is.
I don't know. That would be creepy. So
just a little bit.
Mama sings a song. This is important. Number 1, Mama sings a song that was what Ray was singing in the last episode, and then when
it's also the song of the lute boy.
Yeah, and when Mama becomes the mama, and she's at the wall, and she's like touching the wall. She hears the song. And it's Ray singing the song, and she gets this wide eyes, and Ray looks at her and asks, "Why did you give birth to me, Mom?"
And she says she didn't.
I was right. I was right.
Look, I didn't disagree with you.
Ray is Mama's boy. So,
I didn't disagree. I agreed with you.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm happy that I
was said
right.
For sure it had to be one of them. Most likely it was Ray. But and like Mom's resigned to her defeat, and
she says, "I lost. Be safe, my cute little children."
She's like, "Run and be free." And honestly, at this point, I thought we'd see Mama take a swan dive.
Yeah, honestly, I thought so too. But no, she just goes back to the other kids.
Yeah, and the kids are running, and she wishes them the best wishes. And then she goes back and tells Phil they managed to escape safely, Phil.
Yeah, they escaped
safely.
So
she knows that Phil knows.
Yeah, and Phil's like, oh. And then we get, like, the end is they run to the sunset,
Yeah. They run
sunset.
Into the sunset. She's like, Norman, we did it. And I'll be back for the others. And then sun comes up.
Years.
There's like a big forest valley with a big river down through the middle. It's very nice.
And that's kind of just end.
That's it.
It's just end. Over.
That's
Promised Neverland.
Well, at least we know it's not like destroyed with demons everywhere. At least not at this moment.
We don't know what's out there. Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Then we go on to we have not one.
Chase wikied it in New Forever. You shouldn't do it.
You
don't
cheater.
Ever wiki.
Don't cheat.
Chase. So we move on to God of High School, which we have 2 episodes. God of High School episode 12, Fox/God, and God of High School episode 13, God/God.
Yeah, DC, give us a very short, condensed version of episode 12, because we're gonna be here for a minute.
Okay. Oh, you want me to just burn through this? I'll burn through this.
Burn through episode 12.
Okay, so episode 12, we get angels coming out of the sky. God is summoned. Grandpa Wizard is off to avenge his grandson. There's he's a teeny wand. Did you know the teeny wand? It's so tiny in his hand. It's adorable. So he goes off. We get a flashback. Tyke is sold off. His mom is weak. It is the old dude's just like, your mom is weak. But yeah, Shark Boy. He's like, winners get to decide victory. Weak people whine. So boom. Then we find out Tyke eats the old man after he's given power by Nox. There's weird zombie monsters that he calls the impoverished. Foxy smash. Boom, boom, boom. We find out. Boom. Dragons eating angels. Oh, cute.
I enjoyed that dragon.
It's amazing. I'm getting there. So they're not really explaining this, but the people are paid per angel killed, which is why Q keeps talking about 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, blah 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 blah.
Oh, he's gonna make back all of the money he
lost.
He's
gonna make back all the money he lost. So Mira and Han and Jin.
I'm sorry it sucked knowing, Chase. I'm sorry it sucked knowing.
Mira, Han, and Jin arrive outside, and they're like, what's going on? And just like, Tyke's just getting his butt whooped, and we kind of get the moment of like, say you're sorry, kind of like that kind of butt whooping. Boom, bam, boom. There's this like weird stuff happens. Fox Boy gets eaten. He gets out. The key arrives. And he Tyke tries to eat the key, but the key is stolen by an angel, but the angel's taken down by the old king of homeless people,
the
and then,
hobo member,
the hobo members, and then the other one-armed old man shows up to try and take it, but no, that doesn't happen because Omega Nox guy gets the key, and then Jin steals the key from him, and then Ipio's bleeding out, so Jin Mori tries to save him, and then the Buddhist god thing comes down, and apparently that's their god. I don't know. Its face opens up. It starts breaking the cross barrier.
Park's still trying to hold it all by himself.
Yeah, President of the United States is just you know what? Science beats God. And he launches 567 nuclear missiles because they're going to nuke. Was it a
he or she? I thought it was a Madam President.
Madam President was the Korean president. This was the American president.
Oh, okay, because it was kind of,
Yeah, he's going to nuke God. That is a
40
thing.
Minutes.
That is... What?
I mean...
40 minutes till the nuke time.
With our current ruler, I could see that might be a thing that the president might decide to do. I'm
just saying, they're gonna nuke God. That is the greatest thing to ever happen in an anime. So, Park Mugen says if I didn't have these restraints on me, I could do this no problem. So apparently he's got strengths. And then O's telling Park, dude, we got nukes coming. So, boom. Teleportation. Park Mugen sends the kids off to.
He's like, you guys need to play inside.
Yeah, kids need to play inside.
Temple area.
Yeah, weird shrine thing. Everyone's there. We got Han Daiwei being a saint, being like Hayate, water.
Look, hold on, pause. He whips out finally we see his Sharyuk. It's magic healing water, and he uses it to heal the. Mm-hmm. Well, he said he was going to keep it a secret from the others.
Yeah, this part he has healing water, and he's going to use the
Chase,
person
that is so American to nuke God.
Yeah, nuke God. The dude who lost his arm and the girl who lost her leg, he's going to heal them. He's like, it's just basic first aid. It'll stop the bleeding.
Pretty much. Jin's with Fox Boy, and he uses pressure points to stop his bleeding, so no one's going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm helping you out. I was giving you a little bit of a break.
Oh, you don't need to. Don't worry about this.
Okay.
I got this. So, Jin is
dance, water
Hoodie
dance.
Guy. Yeah, dance, water dance. Jin, Hoodie Guy wanted Jin to be strong enough to take on Tyke. Then he has those little flashbacks. Boom, bam, boom. There's an evacuation because, oh my god, nukes. Dragon gets taken down. Nox doesn't, just wants Park to admit defeat. He won't do it. He's like, it's 100 million years. It's not enough time for you to beat God. And then it's like Tyke versus Han and Mira because he shows up and he starts fighting Han and Mira, and it's an amazing battle. Han is a freaking saint. He wants Jin Mori to run. Jin Mori's mad. It's crazy. So much fighting. Jin Mori fighting Mira, Han. I do what I want. Run. Homeless King helps Mage Grandpa. The teleportation. Mage Grandpa teleports everybody outside of the city. It's Jin.
He takes every person in the city and yeets them to that shrine place.
Yeah. It's Jin versus Tyke. Jin kicks his dragon thing. Tyke eats the dragon attack. Tiny Wand Grandpa turns all 567 nukes into one giant bomb and then crashes a meteor into it because the only way to hit a nuclear nail is with a meteorite hammer. There's a massive super nuke on God. He kills God. Oh. Yeah, and then Tyke gets the key, and Tyke becomes a baby and then turns into a god.
Yeah, look, it was really weird. And then he turns into a baby, and then he looked like Safer Sephiroth and the alien lady from Naruto combined together. That's what I thought.
That was an episode where they nuked God. So
they nuked God, and then Shark Boy ate the key and became super powerful.
You guys,
season finale, DC becomes a sports spectator. But wait, we have one more episode.
We have one more episode, and it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's not as good as nuking God. That was crazy. More anime need to nuke God. I don't know
Tuck your excitement, DC. So we have...
Can't.
Episode 13, God/God. Now, you said you deciphered what these openings, titles mean.
Every title has something to do with a character that appears in the episode. If you remember the marriage/bonds thing, what that was talking about was Mira getting married off, but it was also talking about the bond between her and her family. So each episode, I still haven't figured out what Hound/Wound had to do with, but I think I'll figure it out eventually. But in this one, yeah, we got Fox/God because Fox Boy versus God Boy. Boom.
That was 12, and 13 is
God/God, which we find out why later.
Yes. So, Park is talking to P, and she tells him everything that's what's happening. And only the
God shot down. The kids have been sent to the Holy Realm. And
so Shark Boy, that's now a God Boy, is going on about destiny.
Kill everything and return it to nothingness.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much. And Han and Mira are just like, what? And Jin starts doing the heart racing thing, the memory thing, and then he's like, Mira's like, let's pull back, let's get out of here.
Yeah,
and
Han's
God
like,
Boy
we need to. Well, this is important because Han's like, we need to get everybody else out of here because Han's worried about everyone else because Han Daiwei is a saint.
Yes, Han Daiwei is a saint. You are quite enamored with Mr. Daiwei.
Han is a saint and deserves to be sanctified, and this is this is the greatest example of how a team should be in an anime.
But anyway, God Boy teleports in Mira's face and just yeets her into Han.
Well, Mira, just boom. Because Mira tries to stab him, but he stops her sword with one finger, yeets him into Han. Oh man, it's crazy what happens. There's so much fighting.
And Jin even tries to, and there's a bunch of more fighting, but they really can't scratch the dude.
He throws a hand like this at Han, and it just destroys
they whip out their
Sharyuk. Yeah,
Han and Mira whip out their Sharyuk.
They fight.
Don't touch him. The
dude's
not really phased.
Han
but then he
saves
summoned
Mira.
The summoned demon boys show up. The impoverished.
The impoverished.
Yeah.
But
and
like, Han saves Mira from the laser blasts. So much happens.
Then we have another flashback, and this is
Yeah.
flashback is like one that actually gives us something.
Yeah,
it's
he's
a king. It looks like Jin, and he's got the blue eyes.
Give us your orders. What are we gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I got this. Grow Nibu, and it's a staff, and then he goes and kills a bunch of things.
Because Jin Mori is the Monkey King, baby!
You're right, you right. I agree with you on that one, too.
By the way, interesting fact, in the webtoon, the Monkey King's staff is stored on the moon, because it's stuck in the back of the moon.
Interesting.
And so in that moment when he calls it down, you remember it comes down and just like booms down into the ground? Yeah, it busts through the moon and hits the earth.
Oh.
It's way cooler. Yeah. It would have been awesome to see that.
So, yeah. Red Riding Hood is watching all of this, by the way.
Yeah, anyway, this turned into DBZ.
That child lasers. Is...
Yeah, like what is that kid? Like
Jin pulls off his little useless like sunglass goggle things, and this headpiece appears.
It's a sleep mask. It's literally a sleep mask.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
and he just always okay. And this headpiece appears, and his eyes change to blue, and Red Riding Hood is Saiten Tensei.
Yeah, Saiten Tensei is the name for King Enma, the Monkey King, Journey to the West. Yeah.
So, and Jin's like holding on the staff. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is mine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shrink. Yeah. Boom. And just. My notes
Park
are just.
And the Proctors are also watching, and they're just like, "What is this thing that Jin Taijin took in and raised?"
Yeah. My notes are just DBZ Jin kicks butt, because it's absolute craziness battle of lasers and staff fighting, and it shrinks and grows, and he moves and punching and just boom 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 boom.
I did find it entertaining how before the fight started, Jin and Han and Mira are like, and Godboy is like, even Jin's a little bit like like who knows what's going on.
Yeah,
and
awesome
battle. Lots of awesome fight. Awesome fight. And then Godboy's flashing back and forth to the say you're sorry thing. Apparently that gave him a lot of trauma.
Because Jin's kicking his butt.
And then Jin also summons Kinto-kun, the wind and cloud and lightning.
He summons his cloud, and he's just like, lightning strike, lightning strike, lightning strike, lightning strike, continuous lightning strikes. And everyone's just watching in horror of what's happening. And
yeah. And Red Riding Hood, everybody's watching. They're all they're like,
we gotta get out of here.
And Red Riding Hood, one of his lackeys comes and says, we gotta get out of here. So they yeet, they get out of there, cowards. And then fight's done. Dude falls down. Han and Mira approach, and they're like, "Are you okay? And are you Jin?" Yeah, and he's like, "I'm hungry."
Yeah, he's not saying anything. It's just slow, and he's just like, "I'm starving." And they're like, "Yeah, that's Jin."
Yeah. And he says he doesn't exactly know what happened, but he kind of understands it. And when he tries to tell them, the head thing flashes and causes him pain.
He starts getting pain. Which, okay, this is another interesting fact. The Monkey King's little circlet that he wears was created by the Buddha for a priest to use to control demons.
Yeah.
Which it does exactly what you see happens to Jin Mori. Its literal purpose is to cause extreme pain in their head. It causes them extreme brain pain to make them obey them.
So then Godboy gets up and he wants that power.
Becomes a weird flesh conglomeration?
Yeah, I don't. With a really big mouth. And so Jin fights the fleshy arm barrage. The staff and Cloud weren't listening to him this time.
Yeah, and
then Foxboy appears.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you got friends to rely on because friendship. And
then they're like, the only cure for this idiocy is death, and then they all fight. Yeah, another awesome fight.
Yeah, Mira's like, yeah, we're all idiots, and the only cure for idiocy is death. And it's like, yep, and they all fight, and it's all amazing. And
now, there was that one scene where Foxboy was like up in the air doing a kick, and Jin like landed on him, and then launched off of him. It was really cool.
Foxboy leashes his fire, and like
There's 100 demons.
Yeah, Mira fires off Lubo, and it's just like his staff becomes engulfed in flame, and they fight, and it's amazing. It's just all awesome.
And then finally, Jin summons a whole blue dragon, and it petrifies the fleshy boy.
Yeah, for some reason.
And then 2 more blue dragons shatter it.
Then we get he's beaten up. The guy is laying on the ground. He's just like a chunk. He's
only a torso,
body
he's like a torso and an arm.
Torso.
He's one torso and one arm.
Half a torso and an arm, and Hipio shows up to grab his hand. And he's like, "Don't touch me, loser."
Yeah, he slaps Foxboy's hand away, and now the thing is eating him up. Why this is happening too?
And he just dissolves away, and it's like this light forms, and it's like I guess it's the key fragments.
Yeah, and some of them return to the Fox boy, and then Yellow Jumpsuit Crazy Lady lost in a cage, and she sees a summoning card, and a massive gate. And Fox Boy's friends fawn over him, and Han and Jin, they rest, and they all chat, and they're all grateful for each other's help.
Yeah.
And then this random lady appears with Yellow Jumpsuit Girl, says that she woke her up 2 weeks early. Her holy realm was now destroyed, and she's mad at Park and punches Jin.
Starts beating up on Mori. She's like, "You don't ever learn, impudent monkey." And
calling him an ape.
She's like, "I'm Kim Ungyo. I am older and more important than you."
Yeah, and she said the god of high school goal is fulfilled, and you 3 are still standing, even though there's 8 people standing there. Yeah,
are we, well, the 3 that won the tournament, the 3 left in the tournament. Are we going to ignore that she says she's the progenitor of the human race?
I was getting to that. She says, I'm the progenitor of the human race, and one of the 6th, and everyone's kind of shocked and confused. I mean, as one would be.
Yeah, she's the wish granter. She can grant any wish, except she cannot bring the dead back to life.
Yeah, and Jin asks for his grandpa, but that's when she says, he stops.
Any wish.
Han and Mira are like, we don't want wishes, which... Yeah. There's so many things you could have done right then to help that situation. Maybe could you remove the nuclear radiation from our hometown so we can go home?
Well, the thing, magic. So no nuclear fallout. It's magic.
No,
that's
BS,
like that
and you know it.
Because magic. I like that Mira's just like, no, look, she's gonna give it up because it's Jin Mori's wish. She's like, no, I'm gonna do my sword light style on my own. Han Daiwei is just like, I got nothing. I don't want anything. I'm cool. He's a saint.
Well, his friend did die. Yeah. So Jin, instead of wishing for his grandpa, which honestly would have deprived us of a 2nd season, but been a better choice, wishes everyone's healed.
Yeah, he
and Foxboy's friends get their limbs back, and even their injured friends are fixed. And now that girl that hurt herself in the beginning for Foxboy's journey for him to even go into God of High School, she's fine. Yeah. She can do her martial arts again. Yay! And Goddess Lady shrinks, and she tells Jin his grandpa is still alive.
And then Jin passes out.
He cries happy tears and then falls over, passes out, and his headband breaks, disappears.
We cut to a giant grave.
3 months later.
There's a giant grave for giant mage man.
The old doctor's mourning the magician, and the hobo man comes up and teases him. And he's like, you used to have feelings for the goddess lady, didn't you?
And he's like, did you sort out those feelings?
Yeah, it's been 80-something years since I last seen her.
Yeah, I don't know. In the webtoon, she rejected him because he was too young.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. And then let's see. Park is talking about how he wants to take the country in the next election. Red Riding Hood is shaking hands with somebody, political person, so that means that they're already on it.
One of the proctors is in a suit in that area, which maybe yellow hair proctor was the spy the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be. Jin slept for 3 months.
Yeah, he's back home. He wakes up. He's like, "What's that smell?" He comes out. Han and Mira are cooking, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you were asleep for 3 months."
Why would they just? Oh, that's right, because they were told that he'd wake up on that day.
Yeah. So
because it'd be kind of weird if you just popped in, like, I'm just gonna go randomly cook friends in my my unconscious friend's apartment.
So they cook. They talk about.
They have a friendship moment. They talk about Foxboy, and he's the guardian of the key, and he's got to go find all the fragments scattered all over the place.
The key's ability is to pull gods down from the heavenly realm and kill them.
Yeah, it gives people the ability to kill gods, because they get a little bit of a story time about that the god, they wanted to balance the power, so they made the key so one person could kill a god if it got blah 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 blah. Yeah, you get the idea.
Blah blah blah.
And Mira asked Jin if he has that power, and he's like, I don't know.
And they're like, well, we found out that your memories are sealed, and the only way to get them back is to go to the Monkey King's homeland.
Yep. And Jin's like, sure, why not? And Han and Mira are like, we're gonna go
with you. And he's like, yeah, well, let's get stronger together. Friendship.
Friendship. And then we see Nox, possibly Nox, somebody checking on prisoners, and they're like, we need you to get a new god. And it's Jin's poor grandpa, just like battered, bruised, missing an arm. And he's just like, all he's doing is thinking about how he has so much faith in Jin, and it's really, really sad, because grandpa seems like a decent dude. And that's the end of season 1 anyway. I'm sure there's a season 2.
It's coming. It was good. It was good. It was enjoyable. There was a lot of fun fights.
Oh yeah, like, honestly, I enjoyed both of these animes so much.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, normally I wouldn't love a anime that's only tournament arc, but they kept it interesting enough with all the characters and their backstories and the Sharyuks, and so I am keen to watch more God of High School myself personally, and I'm definitely gonna watch more Promised Neverland when they come out with the next seasons.
Yeah.
For sure. And we have a movie this time, Redline, which we watched in Anime Club, which is for Patreons only.
We'll talk about that later. So,
yeah. If you guys want to be a Patreon, you can be a Patreon for as little as $1 a month and support us. Help us.
Down below in the description.
Yeah. It's in the chat, it's in the links in the descriptions, it's all over the place. And you guys should definitely join our Discord if you haven't already.
Yeah. Tell us what you guys thought about Promised Neverland and God of High School in the comments down below.
Will you guys be watching the second seasons? Or if you missed it and have only listened to us, like some people we know in chat right now, not saying any names specifically, were you gonna watch these animes now? Or we kind of just spoiled the entire first season for you, but you enjoyed it.
Go watch it.
It's fine. Yeah.
So
look.
Hit us with some Empire.
We got some Empire news. Yes. First off, season 1 is ending. You guys know it. This is the last episode.
Yep.
But season 2 is going to pick up on 10/23 for episode 1. Now, before we get to the special thing about episode 1, we're going to go over the we have our movie schedule ready for Anime Club. And we have 3 days of the wildcard picks, which we'll get to that. And then other than that, let's go down this list here. So we have 10/23 is wildcard pick, 10/30 is a silent voice, 11/6 is Cowboy Bebop knocking on heaven's door, 11/13 is Ponyo. I'm going to read half of these and you can read half because I want to be lazy. And then after that, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, another wildcard pick. Now it's your turn.
Dragon Age, Dawn of the Seeker. Comes out on 12/4. 12/11 is Tales of Earthsea. 12/18 is My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising. 12/25 is The Princess and the Pilot. 1/1/21 is the wild card pick. And 1/8/21 is Howl's Moving Castle.
So now it's time for us to tell you guys about our wildcard picks.
Let's talk about wildcard picks.
What's that going to be? It's going to be every one of our wildcard days, the episode before. DC and I are each going to give you guys an anime movie to pick from. You guys are going to head over to Twitter. You're going to vote on which one you want to see, and that's the one we're going to watch in Anime Club for that week. So
that's right.
It's going to be a good time, and you guys will be more involved in it. And as for the animes for Anime Club for Season 2, keep an eye on the Discord for updates for that. But, DC, what is your wild card pick for our first Season 2, Episode 1?
You guys want to hear my pick? You shouldn't be surprised. It's Trigun Badlands Rumble.
At least it wasn't a One Piece movie, right?
I thought about it. I really did think about it.
What is Trigun Badlands Rumble for those of you that have not seen it?
It's the Trigun movie. That's all you need to know. It is the Trigun movie. It is another adventure with Vash the Stampede and a former opponent. Now, there's a lot of interesting stuff that happens in this movie. I don't want to spoil it, but there is There is battles, there is combat, there's female gunmen,
there's a sand train that's kind of
sand train, a sand steamer, there's theft, there's gunfights, there's a giant arm, there's flicking, there's a plant that gets stolen. It's so cool.
Yeah, it is a pretty good movie, but Chasen's chat says it's me with a crying face. Yes.
Season finale.
Look, don't be sad about the season finale. We'll be back in a couple weeks. You'll be okay.
We'll be back.
We'll be
What's
back.
your wild card pick?
My wild card pick is Wolf Children. Now, that Trigun Badlands Rumble is pretty cool, but Wolf Children is a movie that if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it at least once. Okay, it's about a woman named Hannah who falls in love with a man, but this man is actually a wolf man. Like, it's never specified what exactly, but he's pretty much a werewolf. And then they have children together, and then she has to raise, not spoiling the movie, she has to raise those children on her own. And she has to struggle and find her path for raising these children, and the children have to find out, because they're half and half. They're half human, half wolf, and they have to struggle and find themselves. It's cute, it's sad, it's funny, it's got some really good moments in it. If you have not seen it, look, Chase, I know you're saying it, but it will make people cry.
This gives you the
Yes
feels.
and no.
The feels.
Yes and no, Wolf Children, but it's got so much else going for it. You don't have to just focus on the feelings.
Is it 90 minutes of intense donut eating action?
I don't know if you can have 90 minutes of intense donut eating action.
I'm not kidding.
Anywhere.
The back of the box says 90 minutes of intense donut eating action.
Well, I've seen that movie, and I can tell you that is false advertising. He is not eating donuts for 90 minutes. Okay? I can tell you that.
Otaku USA says Trigun Badland Rumble embodies everything I love about Trigun.
Yes, Mamoru Hosoda is the director of Wolf Children as well. Look, it's one of those anime movies that you gotta watch it at least once. It's really good. The animation is on point. The soundtrack's on point. It's a good one. And if you haven't seen it, vote for mine. Vote to watch it so we can all watch it together and have a good time. I'm sure most people that have wanted to see Trigun Badlands Rumble have already seen it. Not that it's not a good movie.
Most people don't know about it. It's amazing. Badlands Rumble. Vote for Badlands Rumble.
Wolf Children. And
I have the DVD. You have to vote for it.
That doesn't... What?
That's the rules. I have the DVD, and I can bring up the role-playing game.
No. Look. Chill, DC. Woosah. That about ends it for our episode. Vote for Wolf Children over on Twitter. But that about sums up our final episode of Season 1. And, this has been a good time, guys. We're going to have our post-show Red Line after this, but we're going to tell you guys goodbye for now.
See you later.
In a couple weeks.
Have fun.
Bye.
Enjoy the break for now. We'll be back for Season 2.
Keep an eye on our Twitter and in the Discord.
That's right. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Don't you worry.
We will. Bye, guys.
Vote for Trigun.